Hey everyone, with everything going on in the world, so many of us are asking, how do we find God's peace in the middle of all this? Well, today, that's exactly what we're diving into. We're going to draw on some powerful wisdom from Pastor Ronald Jasmin's teachings on Isaiah and Acts to figure out how we can wait for God's true peace, especially when times get turbulent. All right, let's get into it.
This is the question on everybody's mind, isn't it? It's what you ask when you turn on the news, when you see the pain right here in our own communities, when you feel that anxiety just start to creep into your spirit. In a world that is just crying out from injustice, from poverty, from all the division, where is the peace that God promised? And look, this isn't just some theological debate. This is a deep, deep cry of the soul. To really get this, we've got to understand that the Bible's idea of peace is so much bigger than just not having a war. The Hebrew word is shalom. And shalom means wholeness in our neighborhoods. It means economic security and fairness for everybody. It means right relationships, real justice, and a deep harmony with God himself. This is the complete restoration we're all waiting for. So to understand the promise, we first have to understand the world it was promised in. See, Isaiah wasn't writing this from some peaceful retreat. No, he was speaking to a people living through political chaos, economic meltdowns, and deep, deep injustice. Does that sound at all familiar? He was speaking hope directly into a world that felt a lot like ours.
And this right here, this is the core tension we all live in. On one hand, Isaiah gives us this beautiful future promise of total peace, but then you have Paul in Acts reminding us of our present reality, that God is in control of the nations right now, even in all their brokenness. Some folks call this the already but not yet of God's kingdom. And what that means is peace has already broken into the world through Jesus, but it hasn't fully arrived yet. We're living in between.
And you can just see this pattern play out over and over again throughout history, from the fear and injustice in Isaiah's time to the so-called Roman peace, which was really just oppression in Paul's day, all the way to the chaos and the hope we see in our world right now. And through it all, there's one thing that stays constant. God's sovereign purpose is unfolding. He has not lost the plot. He has not lost control. Okay, so what does this mean for us? Well, the first big lesson here is all about perspective. See, understanding that God's ultimate vision of peace is a future promise, that actually helps us deal with our disappointment right now. Are you feeling worn out by it all? Are you disappointed that corruption and injustice and division still seem to be winning the day, even in our own communities? And yeah, sometimes even in our own churches. It is so easy to look around and just ask, God, where are you in all this mess? So here's the crucial point. Isaiah's vision is for the finish line. It's what happens when Jesus comes back and finally makes everything new. Now that truth doesn't make us passive, not at all. It actually protects us from despair. It helps us reframe everything so we aren't completely crushed by the brokenness we see today. So what do? First, we adjust our expectations. We gotta stop being so shocked that a broken world acts broken. Second, we work faithfully. We pursue justice, we love our neighbor, we walk humbly, but we release ourselves from the pressure of having to create heaven on earth all by ourselves. And third, we let our solid hope in the future fuel our faithful work in the present. Now, this flows right into our next key lesson. And this one deals with the very real fear and anxiety that all this global chaos can stir up inside of us. Let's just be real for a minute. It's easy to be terrified. It's easy to watch the news and feel like the wheels are just coming off of everything. To worry about the future of our country, our families, our kids. That fear is absolutely real. But look at this promise. This right here. This is the anchor for your soul in the middle of the storm. The same God who raised up empires and brought them down is in control today. Every border, every leader, every single moment in history. None of it catches him by surprise. He is sovereign over it all. So the application here is pretty clear. First, we stop panicking. We take a deep breath and remember God is bigger than all of this. Then we start praying. Really praying for our leaders, for our nations, for justice to roll down like waters. And finally, we release control. We have to let go of that anxiety that whispers to us that it all depends on us. It doesn't. It's in His hands. And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most crucial lesson of all. Trusting God's control and His future plan doesn't lead to us doing nothing. Oh no, it fuels our action. It calls us to live as peacemakers right here, right now. Have you ever caught yourself thinking this way? You see some injustice and just kind of shrug and say, well, the world's broken. It'll all get fixed when Jesus returns. Y'all, that is not faith. That's just passivity dressed up to look spiritual.
Our waiting is never, ever supposed to be passive.
Jesus himself gives us our assignment for the meantime. He says we are blessed when we make peace. We're called to be agents of his coming kingdom, representing our king by doing the hard work of reconciliation and justice here and now.
So what does that even look like? Well, it means we become agents of healing. It means we're the ones who diffuse tension instead of pouring gas on the fire. We're the ones who build bridges instead of walls. And we take the swords in our own lives, our sharp tongues, our grudges, our indifference, and we ask God to beat them into plowshares, into tools that build up and bring life. All right, so let's bring this all home. Waiting for God's peace isn't about sitting around on our hands. It's an active, it's a faithful, and it's a hopeful way of life. So here's your assignment as you wait. This week, I want to challenge you with this. Pray specifically for peace in the world and for our leaders. Then, pick one relationship in your life and decide to be a peacemaker in it. Intentionally release one thing you can't control into God's sovereign hands. Just practice acknowledging He's with you throughout your day. And finally, spend some real time in Isaiah chapter 2 and let that vision of future glory fuel what you do today. So remember this, the ultimate, perfect peace of God is coming. But until that day, your life, your hands, your words, your time, your resources, that's your plowshare. So the real question is, what are you going to build for His kingdom this week?